The heavy rain pounded against the glass walls of the Incheon International Airport. Luna adjusted the worn-out baseball cap on her head, pulling it lower to hide her face. She looked at her reflection in the glass. She was wearing a faded denim jacket and simple sneakers. No one would believe that this woman was the sole heiress to the massive Hancorp empire, a conglomerate worth billions. Lady Luna, a low voice whispered beside her. It was Uncle Choi, the family's loyal butler for 30 years. He was dressed in plain clothes to avoid drawing attention. Are you sure about this? The chairman is worried. Entering the company as a low-level employee. It is dangerous. The wolves are hungry. Luna smiled softly. Her eyes were sharp, intelligent. It's the only way, Uncle Choi. If I walk in there as the Princess of Hancorp, everyone will wear a mask. They will smile and lie. I need to see their true faces, especially the woman my father warned me about. Vanessa Lee, Uncle Choi said the name with distaste. The head of the auction department. She claims to be the CEO's fiancée. She controls everything. Not for long, Luna replied, gripping the handle of her old suitcase. Don't pick me up in the limousine. I'll take the bus. From today on, I am not Luna Han, the heiress. I am just Luna, the temporary assistant in the restoration department. Meanwhile, in the heart of the city, the headquarters of Hancorp pierced the sky. On the top floor, CEO Dorian Kang was staring at a document with a frown. He was handsome, with sharp features that looked like they were carved from marble, but his eyes were cold. Sir? A woman's voice purred from the doorway. It was Vanessa. She walked in wearing a dress that cost more than most people's cars, her heels clicking loudly on the marble floor. She placed a cup of coffee on his desk. You've been working for 10 hours straight. You should rest. The preparation for the grand auction is almost complete. Dorian didn't look up. The Phoenix vase arrived safely? Of course, Vanessa lied smoothly. A bead of sweat trickled down her back, hidden by her expensive perfume. It is. Being polished. It will be ready for the VVIP client tomorrow. In reality, the vase was currently sitting in the storage room, unsupervised. Vanessa had been careless earlier. She had bumped into the display case while taking a selfie for social media, and the glass was cracked. She hadn't checked the vase thoroughly yet, terrified of the consequences. Good. Dorian stood up, buttoning his suit jacket. That vase is the centerpiece. It represents the honor of Hancorp. If anything happens to it, heads will roll. Vanessa swallowed hard but forced a smile. Don't worry, Dorian. I have everything under control. Oh, by the way, HR sent over a new temp today. Some girl from the countryside to help clean the storage. I'll make sure she stays out of your way. I don't care about temps, Dorian said coldly, walking past her. Just make sure the auction is perfect. An hour later, Luna arrived at the service entrance of the building. The security guard looked at her cheap clothes and frowned. Deliveries are in the back. I'm the new staff for the restoration team, Luna said calmly, showing her ID badge. The guard scoffed but let her in. The restoration department was in the basement, far away from the glamour of the executive floors. It smelled of dust and old varnish. Luna took a deep breath. This was where she belonged. Among the history, not the politics. She put on her work apron and tied her hair back. Her first task was simple: organize the inventory in the high-security vault. As she entered the vault, she saw it. The Phoenix vase. It was magnificent, a blue and white porcelain masterpiece from the 15th century. But Luna's trained eyes narrowed immediately. Something was wrong. She stepped closer. The lighting in the room was dim. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small professional UV light and a magnifying glass. Hey, you there! A shrill voice screamed from the doorway. Luna turned around. Vanessa stood there, her face twisted in anger. She had come down to secretly check on the damage she caused earlier, and finding a peasant touching the treasure made her panic. "Who gave you permission to be in here?" Vanessa marched over, grabbing Luna's arm aggressively. "You dirty little rat. Do you know how much this is worth? Your entire life isn't worth a single chip of paint on this vase." Luna remained calm. She gently pulled her arm away, dusting off the sleeve where Vanessa had touched her. "I was assigned to clean and inventory the vault. I am Luna." "I don't care who you are," Vanessa sneered. "Get out. You probably want to steal something." "I wasn't stealing," Luna said, her voice steady and melodious, contrasting sharply with Vanessa's screeching. "I was inspecting. And you should be careful, miss. The structural integrity of this display case is compromised. If you keep shouting, the vibration might—" "Shut up! How dare you lecture me?" Vanessa was furious. She raised her hand to slap Luna. Luna didn't flinch. She simply took a step back. Vanessa, putting too much force into the slap and missing, lost her balance. She stumbled forward, crashing hard into the pedestal holding the phoenix vase. Crash! Time seemed to freeze. The priceless vase wobbled, tipped over, and shattered into 100 pieces on the concrete floor. Silence filled the room. Vanessa's face went pale. Her career, her fake engagement, her life, it was all over. Then, her eyes snapped to Luna. A wicked idea formed in her mind. There were no cameras inside the vault to protect client privacy. It was her word against a nobody's. "You?" Vanessa started screaming, putting on a fake crying act instantly. "You clumsy idiot! What have you done?" Luna looked at the shattered pieces, then at Vanessa. She didn't look scared. She looked disappointed. "Security!" Vanessa yelled at the top of her lungs. "Help!" This temp just destroyed the phoenix vase. Within seconds, heavy footsteps approached. The door swung open, and CEO Dorian Kang stood there, flanked by security guards. His face was thunderous. He looked at the broken porcelain, then at the two women. "What is the meaning of this?" Dorian's voice was dangerously low. Vanessa threw herself at Dorian, clutching his arm, weeping fake tears. "Dorian, I tried to stop her. I caught her trying to steal it, and when I confronted her, she pushed it over. Look what she did." Dorian turned his cold gaze toward Luna. "Is this true?" Luna stood amidst the wreckage of millions of dollars. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She looked Dorian straight in the eyes, her chin lifted with the dignity of a queen, not a cleaner. "No," Luna said simply. She tripped. She broke it. "You liar!" Vanessa shrieked. "Look at you. You're poor. You probably wanted to steal a piece to sell on the black market." Dorian looked at Luna's worn-out clothes. Prejudice flashed in his eyes for a second, but something about her calm demeanor unsettled him. Most people would be trembling. She was perfectly still. "Check her bag," Dorian ordered the guards. "Sir," Luna said, stepping forward. "You can check my bag. You can check my pockets. But you should also check the angle of the fall. Physics does not lie, even if people do." Dorian paused. He had never been spoken to like that by an employee, let alone a temp. "Take her to my office," Dorian commanded, "and seal this room. Nobody leaves until I find out the truth." As the guards escorted Luna out, she glanced back at Vanessa. Vanessa was smirking, thinking she had won. But Luna noticed something amidst the shards of the vase that no one else had seen. The clay inside the shard was gray, not the pure white of the Ming dynasty. Luna smiled internally. The vase was a fake, but she wouldn't say it yet. The trap had just been set. The CEO's office on the 50th floor was silent as a grave. The air conditioner hummed softly, chilling the room, but the atmosphere was already freezing. Dorian sat behind his massive mahogany desk, his fingers steepled together, his dark eyes fixed on Luna. Luna stood in the center of the room. She hadn't been allowed to sit. 2 large security guards stood behind her like statues. Vanessa was pacing back and forth, holding a tissue to her dry eyes. "Dorian, you have to call the police immediately. That vase was worth $50 million. She can't pay for it. She will never be able to pay for it. She needs to go to prison for life." "I am still calculating the damages," Dorian said, his voice flat. He looked at Luna. "You are very calm for someone who just destroyed a national treasure. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Or are you just arrogant?" Luna adjusted her sleeves. She looked around the office, noting the expensive art on the walls. Most of it was authentic, but she noticed a painting in the corner that was a high-end replica. This man had taste, but he wasn't an expert. "Mr. Kang," Luna spoke clearly, "I did not break the vase. Your secretary lost her balance in her high heels and knocked it over. However—" "Liar!" Vanessa shrieked, slamming her hand on Dorian's desk. "Dorian, don't listen to this trash. She's trying to blame me because I'm your fiancé. She's jealous." Dorian frowned at Vanessa's outburst. "Vanessa, sit down. You are hysterical." Vanessa froze, realizing she was losing her composure. She sat on the leather sofa, crossing her legs and glaring at Luna with pure hatred. "Continue," Dorian signaled to Luna. "However," Luna said, a small, mysterious smile playing on her lips. "It doesn't matter who broke it." Dorian raised an eyebrow. "It doesn't matter? $50 million doesn't matter?" "The money matters," Luna said, taking a step forward. The guards tensed, but Dorian waved them off. "But you didn't lose $50 million today, Mr. Kang. You lost maybe $50. The room went dead silent. Even Vanessa stopped fake crying. "What are you talking about?" Dorian asked, leaning forward. "The phoenix vase that was in the vault," Luna said, her voice dropping to a confidential whisper. "It was a fake, a counterfeit, and not even a good one." "That's impossible!" Vanessa jumped up again, her face turning pale. "I personally oversaw the purchase. It came from a private collector in Macau. It was authenticated." "Then you were scammed," Luna said calmly, turning to look at Vanessa. Or someone in this company pocketed the money and bought a cheap replica to put in the vault." Vanessa's eyes widened in panic. This girl, how did she know? Vanessa had pocketed the money. She had used half of the $50 million budget to pay off her brother's gambling debts and buy her own luxury villa. She had bought a high-quality fake, thinking no one would ever notice because the vase was just going to sit in a glass case forever. "Dorian," Vanessa stammered. "She is lying. She is just trying to escape punishment. She's making up stories." Dorian looked at Luna. He saw intelligence in her eyes. He saw a confidence that didn't fit her janitorial uniform. "That is a serious accusation," Dorian said. "If the vase is real, and you are lying to confuse me, I will make sure your sentence is doubled. I will ruin you. And if I am right," Luna countered, "if I prove that the vase is fake, then I am innocent of destroying company property. Because destroying a fake is not a crime worth $50 million. Dorian stood up. He was tall, looming over her. "How can you prove it? The vase is shattered. The shards tell the story," Luna said. "Bring me a glass of water and the largest piece of the broken vase." Dorian stared at her for a long moment. Then he pressed the intercom. "Bring the evidence box in here, and a glass of water." Vanessa was trembling. She grabbed Dorian's arm. "No! Why are you listening to a cleaner? This is ridiculous. Just fire her." "I want to see this," Dorian said, pulling his arm away. "If she is lying, it will be amusing to watch her fail. If she is telling the truth, then we have a much bigger problem than a broken pot." The security guard brought in a plastic box filled with the blue and white porcelain shards. He placed it on the desk. Luna approached the desk. She picked up a large jagged piece of the vase. The blue painting on it was beautiful, depicting a phoenix rising. "Look closely, Mr. Kang," Luna said, holding the shard out to him. "Genuine Ming Dynasty porcelain is made from kaolin clay. It is pure white, dense, and when it breaks, the cross-section should be smooth like jade." She pointed to the broken edge of the shard. "Look at the grain. It's grayish and rough. This is modern industrial clay mixed with stone powder to make it heavier." Dorian squinted. He saw the gray tint, but he wasn't convinced yet. That could be age or dirt. "The water test is definitive," Luna said. She dipped her finger into the glass of water and let a single drop fall onto the unglazed, broken edge of the shard. If this were real porcelain fired at 1300 degrees, the water would sit on top. It would not absorb, Luna explained like a professor teaching a class. But modern low-temperature clay. They watched the water drop. Shh. In less than a second, the water was sucked into the clay, leaving a dark, wet spot. "It absorbed," Dorian whispered. "Like a cheap flower pot," Luna finished. She tossed the shard back into the box. It made a dull thud instead of a clear ring. "Mr. Kang, that vase is a modern fake made in a factory last week. It is worth maybe $200 at a souvenir shop." Luna looked at Vanessa. "So, the question is not who broke the vase. The question is, who authorized the payment of $50 million for a souvenir, and where is the real money?" Vanessa felt her knees go weak. She collapsed onto the sofa. I... Dorian's face transformed. The cold indifference was gone, replaced by a terrifying, icy rage. He turned slowly towards Vanessa. "Vanessa," Dorian said, his voice dangerously soft. "You handled the transaction. You brought the authenticator." "I was tricked," Vanessa cried out, tears streaming down her face, real tears of fear this time. "Dorian, I swear, the seller must have swapped it. I didn't know." Dorian didn't answer her. He looked back at Luna. For the first time, he really looked at her. He saw the delicate curve of her neck, the fire in her eyes, the intelligence behind her words. This was no ordinary cleaner. "Who are you?" Dorian asked. A temp cleaner doesn't know about kaolin clay and firing temperatures. Luna shrugged, putting her hands in her pockets. "I watch a lot of documentaries. I have a hobby for history." Dorian didn't believe her, but he was intrigued. "You saved the company from a massive fraud. If we had sold this fake to the VVIP client tomorrow, Hancorp's reputation would have been destroyed." "Does that mean I'm not fired?" Luna asked innocently. "Fired." Dorian walked around the desk and stood in front of her. "You just exposed a massive hole in my department. No, you are not fired." He turned to his assistant who had just walked in. "Promote her. Move her from the cleaning team to the president's office. She will be my personal assistant starting today." "What?" Vanessa screamed. "Dorian, you can't be serious. She's a nobody." "And you," Dorian said to Vanessa, his eyes dark. "You are suspended from the auction department pending an internal audit. If I find 1 cent missing, Vanessa, you won't just be fired. You will be in prison." "Get out," Dorian ordered Vanessa. Vanessa stood up, shaking with rage. She glared at Luna. "This isn't over," her eyes said. "I will kill you." As Vanessa stormed out, Luna allowed herself a small smile. Step 1 was complete. She had infiltrated the inner circle. "Don't celebrate yet," Dorian said, sitting on the edge of his desk, crossing his arms. "I don't trust you, Miss Luna. You are too smart for your own good. I'm keeping you close so I can watch you." "Watch closely then, Mr. Kang," Luna said, meeting his gaze. "You might learn something." Dorian felt a spark in his chest he hadn't felt in years. Challenge. "Go to HR. Get your new badge." Dorian dismissed her, turning back to his papers. "And get some better clothes. You represent me now." Luna walked out of the office. As the heavy doors closed, she let out a breath she had been holding. Her hands were shaking slightly. That was close. But as she walked down the hallway, she saw Vanessa waiting by the elevator. Vanessa wasn't crying anymore. She was smiling a twisted, evil smile. "You got lucky, little rat," Vanessa hissed as Luna approached. "But you made a mistake. You humiliated me in front of him." "He needed to know the truth," Luna said. "The truth?" Vanessa laughed. "This is the corporate world. There is no truth, only power. You think being his assistant protects you? I have been with him for 3 years. I know his secrets. I know his weaknesses. And I know how to make people disappear." The elevator dinged. Vanessa stepped in. "Enjoy your promotion," Vanessa said as the doors closed. "It will be short." Luna stared at the closed doors. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a text from Uncle Choi. "Lady Luna, be careful. I found the financial records. Vanessa isn't working alone. The audit won't find anything because she has a partner in the finance department. A man named Roman." Luna gripped her phone. The fake vase was just the tip of the iceberg. The rot in the company went deeper than she thought. And now, she was right in the middle of it. The underground parking lot of Hancorp was dark and quiet. Inside a black luxury sedan, Vanessa was screaming. She wasn't crying anymore. She was shaking with pure adrenaline and rage. "She ruined everything! Do you understand?" Vanessa slammed her hand on the steering wheel. "Dorian suspended me! He looked at me like I was garbage!" In the passenger seat, a man was calmly smoking a cigarette. He was handsome in a greasy way, wearing a suit that was too tight. This was Roman, the deputy director of finance and Vanessa's secret lover. "Calm down, Nessie," Roman said, exhaling a cloud of smoke. "You're suspended, not fired. We can fix this." "Fix it? How?" Vanessa hissed. "That little rat, Luna, is now his personal assistant. She's sitting at my desk. She's breathing my air. And she knows the vase was fake." "She knows the vase was fake, but she doesn't have the paper trail." Roman smiled cruelly. "I buried the invoices deep in the system. Dorian will never find the money trail leading to us." Roman reached over and touched Vanessa's shoulder. "Listen, the annual contract renewal with the Lumiere Group from France is happening tomorrow. It's a $1 billion deal. Dorian is stressed." "So?" "So," Roman's eyes glinted in the dark. "The official interpreter for the meeting is on my payroll. I'll make sure he gets food poisoning tomorrow morning. Dorian will be stuck in a room with French billionaires and no translator." Vanessa smiled slowly. "And he will blame his new personal assistant for not having a backup plan." "Exactly." Roman laughed. "Luna will be humiliated. She'll panic. The deal will collapse and Dorian will fire her for incompetence. Then he will beg you to come back to save the department." The next morning, the sun streamed into the 50th floor office. Luna sat at her new desk, right outside Dorian's massive glass doors. Her uniform was gone. She was wearing a simple but elegant white blouse and black trousers she had dug out from her old life's wardrobe. She looked professional, but the other secretaries whispered as they walked by. "That's her? The cleaner who got promoted?" "I heard she seduced the CEO. She won't last a week. Vanessa will eat her alive." Luna ignored them. She was focused on the computer screen. She wasn't just organizing Dorian's schedule. She was hacking into the company's internal archive. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. Project Phoenix. Vendor payments. "Miss Luna." Luna jumped slightly. She quickly minimized the window. Dorian was standing over her desk. He looked tired, his tie slightly loosened. He threw a heavy file onto her desk. "You are 5 minutes late with my coffee," Dorian said coldly. "I was studying the files for the Lumiere meeting, sir," Luna replied smoothly, standing up. "I noticed there is a discrepancy in the shipping clauses." Dorian narrowed his eyes. "You are an assistant. You are not paid to think about shipping clauses. You are paid to bring coffee and ensure the meeting runs smoothly. Do you have the interpreter ready? Yes, Mr. Jean-Paul is scheduled to arrive at 10:00 a.m., Luna confirmed. Good. This deal is crucial. Monsieur Bernard, the head of Lumiere, is difficult. He refuses to speak English even though he knows it. He tests people. Dorian rubbed his temples. Don't mess this up. At 9:55 a.m., the crisis hit. Luna's desk phone rang. It was the receptionist downstairs. Miss Luna, the interpreter, Jean-Paul, just called. He's at the hospital. Severe food poisoning. He can't make it. Luna's heart sank. She looked at the clock. 5 minutes before the meeting. She looked at the elevator. The doors opened, and a group of serious-looking French men in gray suits stepped out. Leading them was Monsieur Bernard, an older man with a silver mustache and a face like a bulldog. Dorian walked out of his office to greet them, looking confident. He turned to Luna and whispered, "Where is the interpreter?" "He is sick, sir," Luna whispered back. "He's not coming." Dorian's face lost all color. The veins in his hand popped as he gripped his file. You didn't have a backup." Mr. King," Monsieur Bernard boomed in a thick French accent, walking towards them. He unleashed a rapid stream of complex French, gesturing at the view, the office, and the time. Dorian forced a smile, nodding blindly. He looked at Luna with panic and fury in his eyes. He couldn't speak French. If he admitted that, he would lose face. If he tried to fake it, he would insult the client. "I apologize." Dorian started in English. "Our translator had an emergency." Monsieur Bernard stopped smiling. He crossed his arms and spoke in French, his tone sharp and insulting. "Is this how Hancorp does business? Unprepared? Disrespectful? Perhaps we should take our money to your competitors." The room was silent. The other executives looked down at their shoes. Dorian clenched his jaw. He was about to apologize and accept the humiliation. Then, a clear, elegant voice cut through the tension. "Monsieur Bernard, please accept our deepest apologies. The delay is not a sign of disrespect, but rather that Mr. Kang wished to greet you personally before the formalities began." The French was perfect. The accent was not just fluent, it was Parisian, refined, and aristocratic. Dorian turned his head so fast his neck cracked. Luna was standing there, her posture perfect, a warm smile on her face. She was looking at Monsieur Bernard, not as a servant, but as an equal. Monsieur Bernard looked surprised. He raised an eyebrow and replied in French, testing her. "And who are you, young lady? Another decoration?" Luna didn't flinch. She replied instantly in French, utilizing a complex idiom about art and patience. "I am Luna, Mr. Kang's assistant. We have prepared the contract with the adjustments to the shipping tariffs you requested last month. Mr. Kang personally reviewed them to ensure your satisfaction." Dorian stared at her. He didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. She was controlling the room. Monsieur Bernard stared at Luna for a long second. Then, a loud laugh erupted from his chest. "Ha! Excellent! Finally, someone at this company who speaks the language of culture." Bernard switched to heavily accented English, clapping Dorian on the shoulder. "Mr. Kang, your assistant is charming. Very sharp. I like her." Dorian let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. He looked at Luna. She gave him a small professional nod. "Shall we proceed to the conference room?" Luna asked, gesturing to the door. The meeting lasted 3 hours. Luna translated everything: technical legal terms, financial numbers, and even Bernard's jokes. She was flawless. When the French delegation finally left, shaking hands and signing the billion-dollar contract, the office was buzzing with energy. Dorian walked back to his desk and loosened his tie completely. He sat down and looked at Luna, who was quietly clearing up the coffee cups. "You speak French," Dorian said. It wasn't a question. Yes, sir, Luna said, not looking up. Where did a cleaner learn to speak Parisian French? Dorian asked, his suspicion returning. That wasn't high school French. That was native level. Luna paused. She had slipped. She had revealed too much of her heiress education. She needed a lie. Fast. My grandmother, Luna lied smoothly. She worked as a maid for a French diplomat in Seoul. I grew up listening to them. Dorian studied her face. He wanted to find a crack in her mask. She was a mystery. First the porcelain, now the language. Every time he tried to put her in a box, she broke out of it. You saved the deal, Dorian admitted, his voice softer than usual. And you saved my reputation. Just doing my job, sir. Dorian stood up and walked over to her. He was close, too close. Luna could smell his cologne, sandalwood and sea salt. Her heart beat a little faster. Why didn't you panic? Dorian asked quietly. Most people would have frozen. Panic doesn't solve problems, Mr. Kang. Luna looked up at him. Her large dark eyes met his. Only action does. For a moment, the air between them was electric. Dorian felt a strange urge to reach out and touch a stray lock of hair that had fallen on her forehead. Buzz. The moment was shattered by the intercom. It was Roman. Mr. Kang, Roman's voice was oily through the speaker. We have a problem with the audit. It seems Miss Vanessa has threatened to sue the company for wrongful suspension. She claims she has evidence of your misconduct. Dorian's face hardened instantly. The CEO mask was back on. He stepped away from Luna. Send her in, Dorian commanded. Luna stepped back to her desk, her heart racing. Vanessa wasn't just coming back to beg. She was coming back to fight. 5 minutes later, the elevator doors opened. But it wasn't just Vanessa. Vanessa walked in wearing a white suit, looking like a victim. Beside her was Roman, holding a briefcase, and behind them was a middle-aged woman crying loudly. That's her. The crying woman pointed a shaking finger at Luna. That's the girl who stole my husband's watch. Luna blinked. What? Vanessa smirked. The plan to sabotage the meeting had failed, so they moved to Plan B, character assassination. Dorian, Vanessa said, her voice dripping with fake concern. I tried to tell you. You hired a criminal. This poor woman contacted HR. She says Luna used to work for her as a cleaner and stole jewelry worth thousands. Dorian looked at Luna, then at the crying woman, then at Vanessa. Is this true? Dorian asked Luna. No, Luna said firmly. I have never seen this woman in my life. She's a liar, the woman wailed, throwing photos on the floor. They were photos of a watch found in a bag that looked exactly like Luna's. Mr. Kang, Roman stepped in, looking serious. We cannot have a thief in the president's office, especially with the VVIP clients coming and going. For the safety of the company, we must fire her immediately and hand her over to the police. Luna looked at the three of them. It was a perfectly staged trap. A fake witness, fake evidence, and Roman pushing the policy. Dorian looked conflicted. He had just seen Luna save $1 billion deal. But theft? That was a line he couldn't cross. Luna, Dorian said, his voice cold again. Empty your bag. Luna felt a cold shiver. She knew what they would find. Roman had probably planted something in her bag while she was in the conference room interpreting for 3 hours. If she opened that bag, she was dead. The silence in the office was deafening. All eyes were on Luna's cheap canvas bag sitting on the desk. Roman crossed his arms, a smug look on his face. Go on, Miss Luna. If you have nothing to hide, empty the bag. Unless, of course, the cleaner habits are hard to break. Vanessa stood beside him, her hand on the crying woman's shoulder. Poor Mrs. Kim here just wants her husband's keepsake back. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Dorian. Dorian's gaze was fixed on Luna. He wanted to believe her. He had seen her brilliance in the conference room just minutes ago. But the evidence. If the watch was in her bag, he couldn't protect her. "Luna," Dorian said softly, "open it." Luna looked at the bag. She knew exactly what was inside. While she was translating for 3 hours, her bag had been left unattended at her desk. Roman had plenty of time to plant the evidence. If she opened it now, a watch would fall out, and she would be branded a thief. She took a deep breath. Panic would kill her. Logic would save her. "I will open the bag," Luna said, her voice steady. She picked up the bag. "But first, I have a few questions for Mrs. Kim." The crying woman blinked, surprised. She looked at Vanessa nervously. Vanessa squeezed her shoulder hard. "Just answer her, Mrs. Kim." Luna stepped closer to the woman. "Mrs. Kim, you said I stole this watch while cleaning your house. When exactly did this happen?" Yesterday," Mrs. Kim stuttered. "Yesterday afternoon. I came home and the watch was gone, and you were the only one there." "Yesterday afternoon," Luna repeated slowly. She turned to Roman. "Mr. Roman, what kind of watch is it?" Roman shrugged. "According to the police report Mrs. Kim filed, it's a gold Rolex. Vintage. Very distinct." Luna nodded. She reached into her bag. Vanessa held her breath, ready to scream, "Thief!" Luna turned the bag upside down. Clatter. Notebooks, pens, a wallet, and a heavy gold watch fell onto Dorian's glass desk. "There it is!" Vanessa shrieked, pointing at the gold watch shining under the office lights. "She had it! Dorian, look, she's a thief!" Roman stepped forward aggressively. "Caught red-handed. Mr. Kang, I'll call security to escort her to the police station." Dorian's face fell. Disappointment washed over him. He looked at Luna, expecting to see guilt. Instead, Luna was smiling. It wasn't a nervous smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just watched the prey walk into a trap. "Wait," Luna said clearly. She picked up the watch from the desk. "Mrs. Kim, is this the watch?" Yes, give it to me." The woman reached out, desperate to end the scene. "You said I stole this yesterday afternoon," Luna said, holding the watch out of reach. "And you said it's your late husband's vintage Rolex." "Yes," Mrs. Kim cried. Luna turned the watch over and read the inscription on the back. "That's strange, because this watch is a fake." The room went silent. "What?" Vanessa snapped. "Don't try to change the subject." "No, look." Luna walked over to Dorian and placed the watch in his hand. "Mr. Kang, you are a man of luxury. Look at the movement of the second hand. A real Rolex has a sweeping motion. This one ticks. Tick, tick, tick. It's a quartz movement. A battery." Dorian looked at the watch. She was right. It was a cheap knockoff, probably worth $50. "And," Luna continued, turning back to the sweating Mrs. Kim, "you said I stole it yesterday afternoon? That's impossible." "Why?" Roman demanded. "You were off duty yesterday afternoon." Actually, Luna pulled a piece of paper from her pocket. "Yesterday afternoon, I was at the immigration office renewing my passport. I was there from 1:00 p.m. to 5:00 p.m. Here's the time-stamped receipt, and they have government CCTV." Luna slammed the receipt on the desk next to the fake watch. "So," Luna's voice turned ice cold, "Mrs. Kim claims I was at her house stealing a fake watch, while I was actually at a government building miles away. Which means Mrs. Kim is lying." Luna took a step toward the woman. The middle-aged actress, realizing her script had holes in it, began to tremble. "Who hired you?" Luna asked sharply. "Who gave you this cheap watch and told you to come here and cry?" Mrs. Kim looked at Vanessa in panic. "She told me it would be easy. She said just cry and point at the girl." Vanessa's eyes widened in horror. "Shut up, you crazy old hag. Shut up," Vanessa? Dorian's voice was like thunder. The atmosphere in the room shifted instantly. The hunter became the hunted. Dorian, no! Vanessa stammered, backing away. This woman is lying. I don't know her. Roman brought her in. Roman's cigarette fell from his mouth. Me? You told me she was a legitimate victim. You said we needed to protect the company. The three conspirators were turning on each other. Dorian stood up. He didn't look at Vanessa or Roman. He looked at the security guards. Escort this woman, he pointed to Mrs. Kim, out of the building, and ban her from ever entering Hancorp again. The guards dragged the sobbing Mrs. Kim away. Now, it was just Dorian, Luna, Vanessa, and Roman. It seems, Dorian said, sitting back on the edge of his desk, that someone tried to frame my assistant. Someone planted a fake watch in her bag to get her fired. He looked at Vanessa. Why, Vanessa? I didn't, Vanessa cried, tears streaming down her face again. Dorian, please. I was just trying to protect you. I thought she was dangerous. Roman told me she was suspicious. Mr. Kang, Luna interrupted softly. Maybe we shouldn't be too harsh on Miss Vanessa. Dorian and Vanessa both looked at Luna in shock. Was she defending her enemy? Miss Vanessa has been under a lot of stress with her suspension, Luna said, her eyes innocent but her tone sharp. Paranoia is a symptom of guilt. Perhaps she needs a vacation, a long one. Luna was playing the long game. She knew if she demanded Vanessa be fired now, Vanessa would play the lover card and Dorian might hesitate. But if she suggested rest, she pushed Vanessa further away without looking vindictive. Dorian nodded slowly. You are right. Vanessa, your suspension is extended indefinitely. Get out of my sight before I call the police for filing a false report. Dorian! Vanessa screamed, but Roman grabbed her arm and pulled her out of the room before she could make it worse. The door slammed shut. Dorian sighed, rubbing his temples. He looked exhausted. I apologize, Luna, that was disgraceful. It happens, Luna said, calmly putting her notebooks back into her bag. You knew, Dorian said, looking at her with a strange intensity. You knew the watch was fake the moment you saw it. I know quality when I see it, Luna replied, and I know trash when I see it. Dorian laughed, a genuine short laugh. You are dangerous, Luna. Is that a compliment, sir? I think so. Dorian walked back to his desk. The contract with Lumiere is signed. The audit on the auction department begins tomorrow. I need you to lead the team organizing the audit files. Me? Luna raised an eyebrow. I'm just an assistant. You are the only person in this building who isn't lying to me, Dorian said seriously. I trust you. Luna felt a twinge of guilt. If only you knew who I really was, she thought. I am lying to you the most. I will prepare the files, Luna said. As she turned to leave, Dorian spoke again. Luna. She stopped. Yes, sir? Tonight, there is a celebration dinner for the Lumiere deal. Monsieur Bernard specifically asked for you to be there. Dorian paused, looking at her simple clothes. Buy a dress, put it on the company card. Meet me at the Hotel Grandeur at 8:00 p.m. Luna's heart skipped a beat. A dinner? With Dorian? Understood, sir. That evening, at the luxury boutique district, Luna walked into a high-end store. She wasn't looking for a simple assistant's dress. Tonight, she needed to be stunning. She needed to cement her place by Dorian's side so she could destroy Vanessa completely. She pulled out a black card. Not the company card Dorian gave her, but her own secret black card from her father. I need something that says Queen, Luna told the shop assistant. Meanwhile, in a dark bar across town, Vanessa was downing her third martini. Her mascara was running. I'm going to kill her, Vanessa slurred. I'm going to kill her. Forget the small traps, Roman said, his face shadowed. If we want to get rid of her, we need to go after her weakness. She has no weakness. She's like a robot. Everyone has a weakness, Roman grinned. I did a background check on Luna. Her file says she's from a small orphanage in the countryside, the Sunshine Home. So, Roman leaned in. The land that orphanage sits on. Hancorp owns it, and the lease is up for renewal next week. Vanessa's eyes lit up with malicious delight. We can demolish it. We can threaten to bulldoze her childhood home unless she quits. Exactly. Roman clinked his glass against hers. Let's see how cool and logical she is when her family is on the street. Back at the Hotel Grandeur, the ballroom was filled with Seoul's elite. Dorian stood near the entrance, checking his watch. He was bored. He hated these parties. Then the doors opened. The room went silent. Dorian looked up. His breath caught in his throat. Luna stood at the top of the stairs. She was wearing a midnight blue velvet gown that hugged her figure perfectly. It was simple, yet radiated power. She had no jewelry except for a pair of diamond drop earrings that caught the light like stars. She didn't look like an assistant. She looked like she owned the hotel. She walked down the stairs, her eyes locking with Dorian's. For the first time in his life, the cold, arrogant CEO Dorian Kang felt nervous. The ballroom of Hotel Grandeur shimmered under the light of 1,000 crystals. The orchestra played a soft waltz, but Dorian Kang heard nothing. All he could focus on was the woman walking toward him. Luna stopped a few feet away. Up close, she was even more breathtaking. The midnight blue velvet contrasted against her porcelain skin, and her dark hair fell in soft waves around her shoulders. She looked regal, dangerous. Mr. Kang, Luna said, offering a small, polite bow. I hope I am not late. Dorian cleared his throat, forcing his heart rate to slow down. He was the CEO of Hancorp. He shouldn't be flustered by his secretary. You are on time, Dorian said, his voice dropping an octave. And you cleaned up well. I put it on the company card as instructed, Luna replied with a faint smile, though I might have exceeded the budget slightly. It was worth every penny, Dorian murmured before he could stop himself. Ah, there they are, Monsieur Bernard boomed, approaching them with a glass of champagne. The dynamic duo, Mr. Kang, you are a lucky man. Beauty and brains, a rare combination. Bernard winked at Dorian. If you do not marry this one, I will take her to Paris with me. Dorian stiffened. She is my employee, Monsieur Bernard. For now, maybe. Bernard laughed, clapping Dorian on the back. But the way you look at her? That is not how a boss looks at an employee. Come, the music is starting. You must dance. I don't dance, Dorian said quickly. Nonsense. Bernard pushed them toward the dance floor. It is a tradition. The deal is signed, now we dance. Luna looked at Dorian's hesitant face. She stepped forward and extended her hand, a challenge in her eyes. Are you afraid I will step on your toes, sir? Dorian looked at her hand. He couldn't refuse without losing face in front of the client. He took her hand. Her skin was warm and soft. He placed his other hand on her waist, pulling her closer than necessary. If you step on my toes, Dorian whispered as they began to move, I will dock your pay. Understood, boss. They moved across the floor. Luna was light as a feather, following his lead perfectly. They spun under the chandelier, the world blurring around them. For a moment, the corporate wars, the fake vases, and the schemes didn't exist. It was just the two of them. Where did you learn to waltz? Dorian asked quietly. Another skill from your grandmother. Luna hesitated. She had learned to dance in Vienna at a debutante ball. YouTube tutorials, she lied. Dorian chuckled softly, the vibration traveling through his chest to hers. You are full of surprises, Luna. Who are you, really? Luna looked up at him. His eyes were intense, searching for the truth. For a second, she wanted to tell him. She wanted to say, I am your equal. I am the one who can save your company. I'm just the girl trying to survive, she whispered. Dorian's grip on her waist tightened slightly. You are doing more than surviving. You are thriving. The song ended too soon. They pulled apart, breathless. The connection between them was undeniable. Across the room, guests whispered. The cold CEO had melted, but not everyone was happy. In the shadows of the balcony, a spy hired by Vanessa snapped a photo of them dancing. He sent it instantly. The next morning, the magic of the night before vanished as soon as Luna stepped off the elevator. The office felt heavy. Dorian was already at his desk, but his expression was dark. Standing in front of him were Roman and Vanessa. Vanessa was back, wearing dark sunglasses, looking smug. Luna, Dorian said, his voice strained. Come in. Luna walked in, sensing a trap. Good morning, sir. Miss Vanessa. I thought you were on vacation. I was, Vanessa smiled thinly. But Roman brought something to my attention that required urgent action. It concerns the company's real estate assets. Roman threw a thick file onto the desk. The cover read, Project Sunshine, Demolition Order. Luna felt a cold knot in her stomach. The Sunshine Home Orphanage, Roman began, looking directly at Luna with a cruel glint in his eyes. It sits on prime land owned by Hancorp. The lease expired yesterday. We have a developer ready to build a luxury mall there. The potential profit is $200 million. Dorian looked at the file, then at Luna. He knew from her HR file that she was an orphan from that exact home. Dorian, Vanessa purred. It's a simple business decision. The orphanage is old, dilapidated, and draining resources. We should bulldoze it. The bulldozers are scheduled for noon today. Noon? Luna's voice cracked. That's in 2 hours. There are 50 children living there. You can't just throw them on the street. It is legal, Roman shrugged. We gave them notice months ago. The director just didn't tell anyone. Luna knew that was a lie. The director would have told her. Roman had likely intercepted the notices. Mr. Kang. Luna turned to Dorian, her eyes pleading. This wasn't acting. Those children were her family. Well, her cover family. But she had grown to care for them during her years of donating anonymously. You cannot do this. It is inhumane. Dorian looked at the profit projections. He was a businessman. $200 million was a lot of money. But he looked at Luna's face, the panic, the fear. It was the first time he had seen her truly scared. Is there no other location for them? Dorian asked Roman. None, Roman said. Real estate is expensive. Dorian, Vanessa interjected, we are running a business, not a charity, unless someone has a personal reason to stop it? She looked at Luna. The blackmail was clear. Beg us, quit, humiliate yourself. Luna clenched her fists. She couldn't reveal she was the heiress. If she simply bought the land now, her cover would be blown. But she couldn't let the bulldozers roll. I will go there, Luna said firmly. I will negotiate with the director. Give me 24 hours. No, Vanessa said sharply. The equipment is rented for today. Delaying costs money. I will pay for the delay, Luna snapped. With what money? Vanessa laughed cruelly. Your assistant's salary? Dorian slammed his hand on the desk. Silence. Luna, Dorian said quietly. You are emotionally compromised. Step out of this. Sir, I said, step out. Dorian's face was unreadable. Roman, proceed with the plan. Luna felt like she had been slapped. She looked at Dorian with betrayal in her eyes. Proceed? You are going to let them destroy a home for a mall? It is business, Dorian said coldly, refusing to meet her eyes. Luna turned around and ran out of the office. She didn't take her purse. She just ran to the elevator. Vanessa smirked at Dorian. You made the right choice, darling. She was too emotional. Not fit for this level. Dorian ignored her. He stood up and grabbed his coat. Roman, you handle the office. I have a meeting. Where are you going? Vanessa asked, suspicious. To the site, Dorian said, walking out. I want to oversee the demolition personally. The roar of engines filled the air. 3 massive yellow bulldozers sat at the gate of the old, crumbling brick building. A group of scared children and elderly nuns stood in the courtyard holding hands. Luna's taxi screeched to a halt. She jumped out and ran toward the gate. Stop! She screamed, standing in front of the first bulldozer. Don't move! The foreman, a rough-looking man hired by Roman, leaned out of the cab. Move it, lady. We have a permit. I don't care about your permit, Luna shouted. Her elegant hair was messy, her eyes fierce. There are children inside. A black car pulled up. Roman and Vanessa stepped out. They had followed her, wanting to enjoy the show. Look at her, Vanessa laughed, filming with her phone. The pathetic little rat trying to stop a tank. Roman signaled the foreman. Ignore her. Drive forward. She'll move. The engine revved loudly. The massive metal blade lifted. The bulldozer lurched forward. No! Luna held her ground. She closed her eyes, bracing for impact. Screech! A sleek silver sports car drifted around the corner and slammed on its brakes, blocking the bulldozer's path just inches from Luna. The door flew open. Dorian stepped out. He looked furious. I said proceed, Dorian yelled over the engine noise. But I didn't say kill my assistant. Luna opened her eyes. She saw Dorian standing between her and the machine. Mr. Kang, you are an idiot. Dorian snapped at her, but his hands were shaking as he grabbed her shoulders. You stood in front of a bulldozer? Are you insane? They have nowhere to go, Luna cried, tears finally spilling over. Dorian! Vanessa marched over, her heels sinking in the dirt. What are you doing? Move your car. Let them finish the job. Dorian looked at the scared children. He looked at the crumbling building, and he looked at Luna, who was willing to die for this place. He pulled out his phone. Cancel the contract. He spoke into the phone to his legal team. What? Vanessa shrieked. You're throwing away $200 million? I'm not canceling the demolition, Dorian corrected her. He looked at the orphanage director. I'm canceling the mall project. We are going to demolish this building and build a new state-of-the-art facility for these children. Hancorp will sponsor it fully. Luna stared at him, stunned. Vanessa turned purple. Are you crazy? Why? Because of her. Because, Dorian said, looking at Luna with a soft expression she had never seen before. A company that destroys homes to build shops has no soul, and my assistant reminded me that I have one. Roman stepped forward, his face twisting into a snarl. You can't do that, Dorian. The board approved the mall. The investors are waiting. If you back out now, the stock will drop. You will lose your position as CEO. Let them try to remove me, Dorian challenged. Oh, they will, Roman sneered. He pulled out a document from his jacket. Actually, they already have. We anticipated you might get soft. Roman handed Dorian a paper. An emergency motion passed by the board this morning. Pending a mental health evaluation, you are temporarily suspended as CEO. I am the acting director. Dorian read the paper. It was signed by the majority shareholders, Vanessa's family and their corrupt allies. It was a coup. You trapped me, Dorian realized. The fake vase, the translation sabotage, the orphanage. It was all to distract him while they bought off the board members. Get off my property, Mr. Kang, Roman laughed, signaling the security guards. And take your little girlfriend with you. Dorian stood there, stripped of his power in seconds. He looked at Luna. I'm sorry. I tried to save it. Luna wiped her tears. Her sadness vanished. Her fear vanished. She looked at Roman, then at Vanessa. A cold, terrifying smile spread across her face. "So," Luna said, her voice changing completely. It was no longer the voice of an assistant. It was the voice of a ruler. "You think you own Hancorp because you have 51% of the board?" "We do," Vanessa gloated. "We won." Luna reached into her pocket and pulled out a simple old flip phone. She dialed a number. "Uncle Choi," she spoke into the phone. "Activate Protocol Alpha, buy the remaining 49% of the shares, and release the founder's override." "What?" Roman frowned. "Who are you calling? What is the founder's override?" Luna snapped the phone shut. She walked toward Roman, her heels clicking on the pavement like gunshots. "You made one mistake," Luna said, standing toe-to-toe with him. "You thought Dorian was the owner of Hancorp. He's not. He is just the appointed CEO." She pointed to the sign above the orphanage gate. "Donated by Han Se-ri." "Han Se-ri was my mother," Luna revealed. "My name is not Luna Kim. My name is Luna Han, and I own this entire empire." The dust from the construction site swirled around them. For a moment, the only sound was the idling engine of the bulldozer. Then, Roman burst out laughing. It was a harsh, mocking sound. "Luna Han?" Roman wiped a tear of laughter from his eye. "Did you hit your head, little girl? You are Luna Kim, the orphan from the countryside. We have your file. You are a nobody." Vanessa joined in, shaking her head with pity. "This is sad, really. She's having a psychotic break. Someone call the asylum." Dorian looked at Luna. He didn't laugh. He was staring at her profile. He remembered the French. He remembered the expert knowledge of Ming Dynasty porcelain. He remembered how she never flinched in the face of money. It all made sense. "I am giving you one chance," Luna said, ignoring their laughter. She checked her cheap flip phone. "You have 60 seconds to run." "Or what?" Roman sneered, stepping closer to her. "You'll hit me with your mop." Suddenly, a low rumble was felt through the ground. It wasn't the bulldozers. Everyone turned to the main road. A convoy of 10 black armored SUVs came speeding toward the orphanage. They moved with military precision, flanking the entrance. The lead car was a Rolls-Royce Phantom, with the flag of Hancorp on the hood. Roman stopped laughing. Who is that?" The convoy screeched to a halt. Dozens of men in black suits jumped out. They weren't security guards. They were the elite corporate enforcement team. The back door of the Rolls-Royce opened. An older man with silver hair stepped out. It was Uncle Choi, the head butler, but today he was wearing the insignia of the chairman's proxy. Uncle Choi walked past Roman. He walked past Vanessa. He walked past Dorian. He stopped in front of Luna. And then, the most powerful servant in the empire bowed 90 degrees. "Lady Luna," Uncle Choi said, his voice trembling with respect. "The board has been notified. Protocol Alpha is active. The chairman sends his regards." Vanessa's face went white as a sheet. Her phone slipped from her hand and shattered on the ground. "No," Vanessa whispered. "Uncle Choi, why are you bowing to the cleaner?" "Cleaner?" Uncle Choi straightened up, looking at Vanessa with cold disgust. "Wash your mouth. You are speaking to the sole heiress of the Han bloodline, the owner of the chair you sit in." Luna finally looked at Vanessa. "Pick it up." "What?" Vanessa stammered. "My phone." Luna pointed to her cheap flip phone she had closed earlier. "Pick it up." Vanessa, trembling, bent down and picked up the cheap phone. She handed it to Luna like it was a bomb. "Roman," Luna turned to him, "you said you have 51% of the board?" Yes," Roman stuttered, sweating profusely. We have the majority vote. Even if you are the daughter, you can't fire the board. It's a democracy." "In a normal company, yes," Luna said, taking a document from Uncle Choi. But my mother, Han Se-ri, wrote a special clause in the company constitution. Luna held up the document, the founder's override. In times of moral crisis, Luna read aloud, her voice ringing clear, the direct descendant has the power to dissolve the board and assume absolute control. Your coup attempts, your embezzlement, your cruelty to these children. This is the crisis. She tore the document Roman had given Dorian in half. I hereby dissolve the current board of directors, Luna declared. Roman, you are fired. Vanessa, you are fired. You can't do this, Roman screamed, lunging at her. I'll kill you. Before he could get within 5 feet, 2 bodyguards tackled him to the dirt. And one more thing, Luna said calmly. Uncle Choi, did the police receive the files? Yes, my lady. The files regarding the fake vase, the bribes to the interpreter, and the fake witness Mrs. Kim. The police are arriving now. Sirens wailed in the distance. Real police sirens. Vanessa fell to her knees in the dirt. Her white suit was ruined. Luna, Miss Han, please, we were colleagues. I can explain. Colleagues? Luna looked down at her. You tried to bulldoze my home. You tried to ruin Dorian's reputation. You humiliated me for weeks. Luna leaned down, her face inches from Vanessa's. You wanted a life-changing battle, Vanessa? You got one. Enjoy prison. I hear the uniforms are orange, not white. The police arrived. They handcuffed a screaming Roman and a sobbing Vanessa. As they were dragged away, the children of the orphanage cheered from behind the gate. Luna watched them go. Her expression was stone cold. Then she felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned around. It was Dorian. He looked shocked, betrayed, and impressed all at once. So, Dorian said, his voice hoarse. Luna Han, the girl who served me coffee, owns my paycheck. Luna bit her lip. The adrenaline was fading, and now she just felt the weight of her lie. Dorian, I didn't mean to deceive you. I had to know who was loyal. And? Dorian asked, crossing his arms. Did I pass your test? You stood in front of a bulldozer for me, Luna said softly. You lost your job for these children. You passed. Dorian looked at the Rolls Royce, then back at her. So, what happens now? Do you fire me too? Am I just a puppet CEO? No, Luna said. She took a step closer to him. I need a CEO. I know art, I know history, and I know how to catch rats. But I don't know how to run an empire day to day. I need someone I can trust. She extended her hand to him. Dorian Kang, I am offering you your job back, with a raise, and full autonomy to rebuild the auction department. Dorian looked at her hand. He should be angry. His ego was bruised. But looking at her, the fierce protector, the brilliant strategist, he realized he didn't just respect her. He was falling for her. He took her hand. I accept, Dorian said, on one condition. Name it. No more secrets, Dorian said, pulling her slightly closer. And you owe me dinner, a real one, not a company event. Luna smiled, a genuine, bright smile that lit up her face. Deal. 6 months later, the newly built Han Se-ri Children's Center was beautiful. It had a playground, a library, and a music room. Luna and Dorian stood on the balcony overlooking the opening ceremony. The media was snapping photos below. The headline on the newspapers read, "The Power Couple of the Century." Are you nervous? Dorian asked, adjusting his tie. A little, Luna admitted. She was wearing a stunning cream suit. She was no longer hiding in the shadows. She was the chairwoman. Don't be... Dorian took her hand and kissed her knuckles. I'm right here. By the way, Luna said, looking at him mischievously. I saw the quarterly reports. The auction department profits are up 300%. Well, Dorian smirked. I have a very demanding boss. I have to perform. And the vase? Luna asked. Replaced, Dorian said, with a real Ming Dynasty piece, authenticated by you, of course. Luna leaned her head on his shoulder. We make a good team, Mr. Kang. The best, Miss Han. Below them, Uncle Choi watched with a smile, wiping a tear from his eye. The mask was shattered, the battle was won, and the heiress had found not just her throne, but her king.